Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Teresa. This is Lost My Thread. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my first time attending a fabric swap. The first part of this video, I'm going to be talking to you about a fabric swap that I'm planning to attend and telling you what I'm going to be bringing to it. And then for the second half of the video, I'm going to be showing you what I picked up at the fabric swap. So if you're not familiar with the idea, the concept of a fabric swap is that people will bring in fabrics that they have in their collection that for whatever reason they're just not going to use, and they would rather donate it to somebody else who would use it. So we all put all of our fabric into like a central pool, and then everybody takes away the things that they want. There's obviously always a possibility that I won't see anything that I particularly want, but I think there's going to be quite a few people going from what I gather, and I feel like there's a chance that I might pick something up. But at the end of the day, all the things that I'm bringing, I'm not using anyway, and they're just sitting and taking up space in my wardrobe. So I would rather give them to somebody who will actually sew them up and love them. The fabric swap that I'm going to is part of the London Stitchers meetup, which I found out about on Instagram, and it is hosted by an online fabric shop called Olive Road London. They sell vintage fabrics online. It would be nice because there's quite a few people that I know that I've met before that I'm going to be seeing there, but obviously it would be fun just to see what kind of fabrics people bring in, and hopefully some of my things get a better home than they do currently. I am bringing some fabric, but you can also bring haberdashery items and sewing patterns, so I'm bringing some of those as well. I thought I would just briefly talk you through what I'm bringing and why. As far as sewing patterns, I have a variety that I've gotten for free in magazines, and some of them I was considering whether or not I wanted to keep, but recently I have kind of reinforced the idea that I had that I'm not particularly interested in sewing the big four at the moment, and there are some other patterns in there as well that I just don't think particularly appeal to me and my aesthetic. The one that I was the most considering keeping is this McCall's one. This one is M8104. But the main thing I will say is this is a very deep V, and I would have to do quite a lot of adjusting to get it to fit me how I want it. And I feel like I could probably find other patterns that I think would suit my body shape better and would fit me right out of the packet. And if someone else is going to love this one, then by all means, I would like them to have it. So I've got a stack of 10 of these that I'm going to be giving. I also have a ton of these buttons. These are really beautiful buttons. As you can see, the back is gold. So these are enamel and they've got a really nice sheen to them. They're a beautiful oval shape. I got these for a dress that I made recently, and they were the perfect buttons for the dress that I got, or the dress that I was making. But I actually didn't realize that I was ordering multiples of these buttons. I thought I was ordering 5 buttons, and it turns out that I was ordering 5 lots of 5, so 25 buttons. I only need 5 buttons, and there's no way that I'm going to have a use for the remaining 20. I know they're just going to get wasted, and they're such beautiful buttons. I don't want them to get wasted, so I'm really glad that I can bring them to somebody else. And onto the fabric now. So this is a fabric that I have that's a ribbing fabric. It's a lovely black ribbing with this sparkle in it. It's nice and good and stretchy because it's ribbing. It can be used for cuffs, the bottom of hems of sweatshirts and things like that, or sweatpants. The main thing is, I'm just not a glittery, sparkly person. Just realistically, this is so not me, and I know that it would suit somebody else much, much better. I got these to make a pair of pajamas for my niece, and they were perfect for her, but I just feel like I'm not going to have any more use for them, and if someone else can put it into a garment, I would rather them have it. This is a remnant of cotton jersey fabric that I got from Minerva. It's London themed. I thought it would be fun and cute to use to make some pajamas for my mom, and I think it was. I made her a nightgown out of this, but I feel like I'm just really not going to have a use for it, and being someone who lives in London, having anything with London theme on it just feels a little bit awkward. I've also got this piece of black bull denim that I got from Vogue Fabrics. This is stretch bull denim. It's really nice quality. It is 2.5 meters of it. The reason why I don't want it and I'm not going to use it is because it has 2% spandex, but it only stretches in the diagonal. It doesn't stretch from the grain or from the cross grain. So I think you'd really need to use like a non-stretch woven pattern for it. And these days, guys, I'm just not interested in anything that doesn't have enough stretch in it to be able to sit down and be super comfortable. So this can go to a better home than mine. I also have a remnant. This is 83 centimeters of a really beautiful waxed cotton fabric that I got. It's Milleraine waxed cotton fabric from Guthrie and Ghani. This is left over from the coat that I made, the Kali Anorak that I made, and I absolutely love, wear that coat all the time. It is waterproof, it is delightful. So this fabric is really, really lovely, but I feel like I just don't really have a use for this remaining piece. You could definitely make a bag with it. You could maybe make a hat with it, but I'm just personally not gonna do it. I just know I'm not going to. I've been hanging on to it because it feels wasteful to get rid of it, but someone else might be able to make something out of it that they're actually gonna love. I've also got this remnant, so this is 77 centimeters of a really beautiful polyester velvet fabric that I got from Sew Me Sunshine. So I made a dress with this one, the Sew Over Eve dress. I love the dress that I made. I think it's really beautiful, but I just feel like this size of a piece, I don't personally just know what I'm gonna do with it. And it's just been sitting around for ages without a use. So I'm gonna be donating that one as well. I've got 3/4 of a meter of this as well. So this is left over from a pair of jeans that I made. So this is a stretch denim that I got from Fabrics Galore. It's nice quality denim fabric. I don't especially love this color, especially close to my face. I just feel like it would probably make a nice pair of shorts for someone, but I don't feel like I would like the look of this in shorts for me. I feel like it would end up looking almost too close to flesh tone and I wouldn't be comfortable in them. Now this one I feel kind of the most sad about getting rid of. This is a really gorgeous fabric. This one came from Sew Over It. It's a really lovely quality viscose fabric. It's called Peach Bloom. I had an idea of making a dress with this one. I think when it arrived though, it just wasn't quite the shade that I was expecting it to be. My husband thinks maybe it's a little bit brown. I don't know if it's just a little bit orange, but whatever it is, it's not the pinky peach that I thought I was getting. And every time I pick it up to look at it, I just feel like, I don't think that color is gonna suit me that well. And I don't think I'm gonna love the fabric. And it just seems so wasteful for it to sit around because it's gorgeous fabric, it really is. And I think that somebody could make something absolutely stunning out of it. And I really hope they do. The last two are ones that I actually showed in a previous video when I was going through my fabric stash just to see what was there, and there were things that I'd forgotten about and I didn't know what to do with them then, and I've had a good long think about it and I just feel like somebody else would love these way more than me. This is actually a piece of poly satin that is a Ted Baker fabric. So it's made by Ted Baker to be used, it was like a sample that they had with these beautiful hummingbirds on it. I mean, I think it is honestly really gorgeous, this panel of fabric, but it is just really not me. I feel like somebody else could make something incredible with it, but I just don't see myself in it. And the last one is this boucle fabric. So it's a wool blend boucle with all these gorgeous pastel shades all woven through it. I love it and I still love it. But the more I look at it and the more I hold it up to my face and the more I think about what I would make with it, I just feel like it needs to be warmer tones to suit me, or it just needs to be maybe like deeper shades and not quite so bright, not quite so pastel. It's one of these fabrics that I feel like will be a knockout on somebody, but it's just never going to be something that I'm going to want to make something from. And if I did, I just don't think I would love it. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with any of these items. They're just not things that I'm going to use and love. And I would rather them go to a home where someone is going to love them. And I cannot wait to see what I'm able to snap up at the fabric swap. I'll show you in a minute. Today is Sunday. It is the day after my first fabric swap and it will definitely not be my last. I had such a good time going along. I met lots of new people. I met up with some old friends that I haven't seen in a little while. It was such a good day. Sewing people always bring a really good vibe as well. I didn't realize that the event was actually going to be at a crafting studio. So it's a studio space that you can rent out rooms for your businesses if you have a crafting business, or just to use for your crafting stuff, but also to host events like there was on Saturday. When we arrived, it was really nicely organized. So there were different sections for everything. So there were sections for patterns and notions. There were sections for different cuts of fabric. So smaller scraps, or more like fat quarters, more like a meter, more than a meter, or more than 3 meters. So you could go around and just see if there were things that were going to be generally the kind of thing that you wanted, but have some idea of how much fabric there was going to be when you picked it up. I arrived pretty early, and when I was looking around, there wasn't tons of stuff to begin with, but it definitely did pile up throughout the day. So as more people arrived and they brought more fabric, there was more and more to choose from. I felt like every time I turned around to look at a different section and then I went back, there was tons of stuff that wasn't there before and lots of goodies that I could nab along the way. My goal was to take home less than I brought, and I did definitely stick by that. In addition to everything that I showed you guys in my previous half of the video, I did also take quite a lot of fabric scraps. I decided not to take anything under a fat quarter, but there were quite a few bits of fabric that I felt like, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this. It's beautiful fabric, don't want it to go to waste. And so I tagged those into my bag as well. So I ended up having quite a lot that I brought in, and I am really happy with everything that I picked up. At this particular event, there was also a Japanese cafe that had a pop-up shop, which was really nice. So that way you could take a little break, go with your sewing friends to go and sit and have a little cake, have a cup of tea or a coffee, just catch up on what you'd picked up and help you to rationalize if you definitely wanted all the things you'd picked up. And it's just so fun to get to talk to fellow sewists about what they're hoping to make with the different fabrics they're picking up. We were giving each other lots of inspiration and ideas as well, and it was just such a nice way to just share in our love of fabric. I also at one point went back into the room just to kind of stand back and take a look at all the people browsing the fabrics, and it just felt so lovely and positive. I think there's something about the idea of fabric that you've bought that you have a lot of love for, but for whatever reason just isn't doing it for you. Being able to then give it to somebody else who's really going to appreciate it just feels so nice. And then the flip side as well, picking up fabric that you know that somebody at some point really, really wanted, but for whatever reason, they've fallen out of love for it, but now you can breathe new life into it. It just felt so nice. I mean, obviously, it's great from a sustainability point of view, and I really do appreciate that these clothes are then going, or these fabrics are going to be made into clothes, hopefully. Anything that didn't get used, they were actually going to be donating as well. I think I mentioned that before, so nothing was going to be wasted. But for me, honestly, more what I took away from it was just that feeling of this shared love of fabric, this shared love of sewing, and getting to share that with each other as fellow sewists. So I want to show you what I've picked up and any ideas that I have for these things. Please feel free to give me your suggestions of what to do with everything that I've picked up. I picked up a few buttons. So these are just a little tiny teal button. These are a color that I use quite a lot, so I feel like it's just useful to have. So I nabbed those. I mean, they match what I'm wearing. It's clearly a color that I like. I also picked up some piping. Now this to me looks like a very vintage fabric. So it's like a vintage looking piping. I have used piping before, but I've always made my own. I never actually bought piping to use before. Now this one, I will say, I have no clue what I'm going to do with it, but I don't care. It was just too pretty and too tiny. It was going to take up a lot of space, and I felt like I can find a fun use for that. I feel like that will be a nice addition to some type of garment or accessory, potentially sewing machine covers. I could totally see that, but I just felt like I couldn't leave it behind. I also picked up this cotton. It was a fat quarter and it's got little strawberries all over it. I do really love strawberries. I think it's just such a cute print. I picked this up for pocket bags. I did have in my mind if I could see some cute fabrics to use for pocket bags for pants or shorts. I knew that's something that I'm always going to love putting in as a nice little additional detail for me to notice. So I had to get that one. I also picked up this. It's a remnant, so it's 143 centimeters by 115 centimeters. It's a viscose jersey fabric, so it's got a good amount of stretch in both directions. I really love the stripe. I love the thickness of the stripe, the color. I'm clearly a fan of the stripe. I feel like this is like a kind of a tomato red, and I really do like that shade of red. I think this would make a really cute t-shirt. It could also make a really cute tank top, so I'm going to have to decide whether I want to go tank top or t-shirt. But one way or another, this is very much my kind of color, and I really think I will love a top made in this. I also picked up this bright blue polar fleece. Now, if you are following me on Instagram, you might know this already, but I have been doing a lot of research and thinking and planning around making some reusable menstrual products. So like reusable period pants or pads that I can wash and reuse. I generally haven't used those kinds of items before. I do actually have reusable fabric panty liners, having said that, but not for like heavier days. And I was curious to experiment around with some different things, and I asked people on Instagram for suggestions of materials that they use and recommend for it. And there were a couple of people who mentioned polar fleece as a layer was really nice and it felt really comfortable. And just feeling how soft and squishy and lovely this is, I just feel like that would be a really comforting, soothing feeling as one of the inner layers of the pads or the panty or the pants that I'm making. So I haven't made any major decisions yet, but I was definitely looking around for this kind of fabric and it was there waiting for me, so I had to nab it. I also picked up this lemon print. So this is a cotton linen blend. Not generally my colors, but really fun, really vibrant, and really cute. But I very much had a specific idea in mind for this particular fabric. I have an apron that I got from Anthropologie a while ago. I'm going to show you guys, but it has seen better days, so ignore the bleach stains and everything else. But the idea of this apron is that it's got a gathered section like a skirt, essentially, and it looks a bit like you're wearing a skirt or a dress when you wear it. I think it's a really cute style, but this thing has definitely got a lot of bleach stains. It's what I wear for doing work around the house. Whenever I'm doing crafts where I think I might get a bit messy, I throw this on. But I feel like I could really do with having a nice pretty apron that's not all stained and all messed up. And I thought that I could take the design of that, but use this really fun lemon print to create a super cute dress looking apron, 1950s style. And I could use some contrast piping, or not contrast binding, or different colored straps, maybe different sections going across the middle that could just highlight some of the other tones, the orange and the yellow on there. I think it would be really cute, and I think this will be super fun to wear when I'm in the kitchen baking. I also picked up this, it's a rib knit, it's like a marled green. I really love the color, and I've been gravitating more towards greens. I feel like it's probably not showing up the right color, so I'll insert an image if I can't get it to show up correctly. It's a really beautiful, nice green color. It's not too intense. It's more like a gray green, but it's definitely the kind of shade that I've been wearing a lot of other things that would match well with it. At the time, I was actually wearing a dress that I'd made that matched extremely well, and when I saw it on the table, I felt like this clearly is going to be a cardigan to go with the dress that I'm currently wearing. So I obviously need to take it home with me. I'll pop in a picture briefly of the dress, but I will be showing more of that in my January makes video. But you might be able to appreciate what I'm saying. I feel like cardigan in this fabric over that dress and many other things that I am generally wearing these days, I think it would go really well. So I think this one will slot right into my wardrobe. I also picked up this really gorgeous viscose challis fabric. Now this is a kind of color that I don't normally wear, but I think is actually a really good color for me, and I want to try and experiment a little bit more with wearing it. It's a really lovely quality fabric. It's really nice and soft. This was one that actually one of my sewing friends put down, and I spotted it, and the minute I saw it, I nabbed it because I knew it was something that I could really enjoy making and wearing. But I feel like this one would suit a blouse really well, so I'm thinking possibly there's a Rhapsody top, I think it's called the Rhapsody top or Rhapsody blouse, Rhapsody tee by Love Notions, and also possibly the Gilbert top by Helen's Closet. I'm not quite sure, but I'm definitely thinking a blouse or a top in this would be absolutely beautiful. I'll have to think a little bit about what I want to do with it, but I think the lovely drape and weight to it would be really comfortable to wear in the spring, summer, even autumn times. And it's just such a gorgeous fabric, gorgeous print, and really, really lovely color. I also picked up this really unusual striped knit fabric. So this is a navy and white. There's not a ton of stretch to it. There's a little bit of a stretch there. I feel like it's not going to be something that I'm necessarily going to want to be super form-fitting. I was expecting it to be see-through. It looked like it was quite sheer, but it's actually not. So those whiter sections are actually backed on the back as well. I feel like this would make a really stunning dress. So I actually have quite a bit of this. There's 2.5 meters, but it's actually very wide as well. So I think I could definitely get a nice dress. I haven't decided what style. I'm thinking something that will be relatively fitted on top, either like more of a fit and flare, like a skater type dress, or maybe more of like a longer figure hugging dress with a little slit at the back, more of a maxi length. Haven't decided. If you have a specific pattern in mind, let me know, but I might just hack a pattern that I have that already works well for me. But I do really like navy. I really do like a stripe, and I think this will be really nice as a vertical stripe. And I think it's going to be really warm and cozy to wear as like a wintry dress as well. So I think it's going to be a fun one, and definitely an unusual fabric that I have not seen the likes of before. So it was a cool one to find. This is another one as well that when I was showing a little group of sewing friends what I'd picked up, she mentioned that she was the one who brought it, which just makes it a little bit more special, so I can think about her when I make that dress. The last one I'm going to show you is the one that I am the most excited about. It was the first one that I picked up, and it is this absolutely gorgeous double gauze fabric. So it's a cotton double gauze fabric in that similar kind of tomato red color, which I really like, but it has this incredible floral print all over. It is so beautiful. I love the detail of that floral print. I love that it's just black and red with that really nice contrast on there. Now this one, it was actually another one of my sewing friends had put it down. I didn't know. I picked it up and she said, oh, that one was mine, because the color doesn't suit me. And the color I feel like suits me, and I absolutely love this color. She told me she actually got it in Bali, so it's really nice to have that little bit of a background story as well. Now this particular sewing friend, I have actually seen her in a really gorgeous Zadie jumpsuit by Paper Theory in a double gauze fabric. So I kind of feel like maybe that's what needs to happen with this, as a bit of an homage to my friend Izzy. We'll see what happens, but I think whatever I make with this, honestly, I think it's going to be beautiful, and I think I'm going to love wearing it. I have really loved wearing cotton double gauze this year. I really love that it is nice and breathable when it's hot, and I also like that with the double cotton layer that you get in it, it's not going to make you too cold if it's a little bit cooler at different times of the day. So I feel like this is definitely going to be a winner, and I think a jumpsuit in this fabric would be quite the knockout. I have heard that they're planning to make this a yearly event, and I will very much want to go again to another one of these in the future. I will keep my eyes peeled for other sewing swaps as well. I will say that this was quite a lot of deep stash that I brought in, and in future ones I probably won't have quite so much stuff to bring along. But I don't think that's the point. I think even if you brought one small thing or didn't even bring anything, it's more about us sharing our love of fabrics and lightening each other's load, as it were. I think one of the big takeaways for me really though from all of this was thinking a lot more about color. So I know that there were a lot of fabrics that I was looking at, I was drooling over, that I was thinking, ooh, that's a really great shade of pink, that's a really fun bright orange. But actually realizing that those are the kinds of things that I ended up trading in before, because I realized that if it's not a color that I feel like suits me, it's just never going to happen, as gorgeous as I think the fabric is. So I was much more mindful this time round when I was picking up fabrics, thinking about what were the colors, are they going to work with what I have in my wardrobe, are they going to work with my coloring, that I'm going to feel confident wearing these colors. And I felt like that really helped me to narrow down my choices quite a bit. So I would say if you do go to a similar fabric swap, keep your eyes peeled for the colors that reach out to you, the prints that reach out to you, and just try and weigh up, actually, is this something else that's going to end up just sitting in my fabric stash again and then maybe being brought along to a future fabric stash or fabric swap, or is this something that I'm actually going to want to make up as soon as I can and wear it? If you have been to a fabric swap before, let me know how your experience was, even if it was the one on Saturday, because I know that there are some people who I saw on Saturday who may well be watching this video. I would love to hear if you ended up going away with more or less than what you came with, if you picked up anything that you were super excited about, if there was anything that maybe you left behind that you wished you hadn't. Please do let me know as well if you have any suggestions for specific patterns of things that I was showing you with the fabrics. If anything really struck you as, ooh, that would make a great this, or maybe not going to work so well for this type of thing. I would love to hear your thoughts, because I just want to get more and more inspired by all the gorgeous fabrics that I picked up. I hope it was fun to hear about my experience of attending a fabric swap. I really do recommend it if you get the opportunity and you've got some fabrics in your stash that you are willing to say goodbye to. Please do give me a like if you enjoyed the video today. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you want to see more of my future videos, including me sewing up some of these goodies that I picked up today. And I'll see you soon. Bye!